Sven is saying he wants to know where I get the confidence that there are secular replacements for religious ideas, religious assumptions. Sven, you're live on Truth Wanted.
Good evening. Yeah, earlier tonight you had mentioned you think you want to throw out the baby in the bathwater, throw it all out. And so I was just interested if you had, as far as I know, most people who are atheists say, there aren't answers for all the religious questions because a lot of them are just additional axioms or assumptions, but they are assumptions that provide comfort. And so are there, as a secular humanist, how confident are you, I guess I should ask from the beginning, that there are secular replacements for all the worries that can come from a materialist or nominalist worldview?
Well, that's an interesting question. I'm a volunteer with the atheist community of Austin. So here we're one example of that. But if everybody were Unitarian Universalists, I probably wouldn't. I don't know if the ACA would exist, right? Because it's like if everybody just was kind of chill and had that vibe, and we're just the world was hunky dory, there wouldn't be as much motivation to do activism in some sense. But the truth is they represent a small minority, and even though Unitarian Universalists have been around for decades, they still continue to be a small minority. It doesn't seem like that's what people are going to religion for. Some of them, sure, and some of them do find guidance and hope and strength in those communities, and more power to them for that. But the bad guys seem to be in power for the rest of us, right? And they seem to follow the worst kinds of religion, the most authoritarian, the most thought preventing, right? The ones that keep your critical thinking from being able to expand and explore. So I don't know if there's a one size fits all for everybody. Okay, I'm not saying that everybody has to be an atheist. Everybody has to have that label for themselves and think that way. I do think that we have to be able to have the tools to escape those constructs in order to figure out what it means to live our lives in a way that's going to be divorced from something that's a higher power telling us what to do all the time, or having differences between each other because some higher power or some guy in a church says so, right? That's obviously never going to be the answer for me. But I don't know. That's just my opinion on it. Maybe Thinker, do you agree with that, or concur rather?
No, yeah, I definitely concur. I wanted to ask, when you say replace the worries that people have, that they give them peace right now, like, are you talking about like who would they pray to, when they have a loved one in the hospital on the brink of death, or is that what you're saying?
Are you asking me or are you asking Sven?
Sven.
Okay, yes,
There's
Sven.
a lot of tools. That's why I kind of just generalized it. There's definitely that's one of them. I would say the worry of an afterlife, like if we're going to be finitely died, if people are going to be leaving. I would say the problem of morality, the problem of evil. Like, I know there is atheists or nominalists that are moral realists, so it wouldn't be a problem with them. But most materialists aren't moral realists, so that would be an issue for them. So we could talk about that. I think there's a lot of axioms that religion answers that materialism, nominalism can't.
I would say that there's a lot of answers that religion gives the appearance of answering, right? I don't know if it actually answers it, but sure. But Thinker, you look like you were going to say something.
No, I just wanted to say the same thing about when you say the afterlife. Like, nobody really has an answer for the afterlife.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, we don't really know for sure, right?
Nobody has something that we call a correct answer, but plenty of people throughout history and today have an answer for you if you ask that question.
I'm sorry, say that again. What did he say?
He's saying that no, we may not have a correct answer, but a lot of people have answers to it throughout history.
They've made them up, so just make up your own.
Yeah.
Like, who's going to fact check you on that?
Yeah.
You make up our answers, and then we so later on.
You don't know who's verified the afterlife.
Nobody claims it's an empirical answer. It's
some Christians do, but yeah, go ahead.
Not a science question.
Right, but your question is like, what is a replacement for that? Make up your own afterlife. Who's going to tell you that you're wrong?
Well, that's why I'm asking, how confident are you that there are secular replacements for it? That wouldn't be a secular replacement for it.
Why wouldn't it be? Like, you don't have to have a God in an
Would there
afterlife.
be a secular? I mean, I could be wrong. Is there a secular concept of the afterlife, Dan, that or thinker that I'm unaware of?
Yeah, it's called we die and that's it. You know, I mean, like, I don't know that for sure. I can't say with 100% certainty. I haven't been dead yet, but I don't have a reason to think I am going to go on. Maybe that doesn't give people joy, but it gives people peace, right? Like, it can give people a sense of, hey, okay, that's it, acceptance. Maybe that's more important,
And comfort,
right?
requirements for social species.
Is it? I'm still here. It's not required for me. It's not required for thinker.
I have no desire to live
So
forever.
you think you guys are the rules, not the exceptions.
Now,
What are you
that?
saying?
Like,
What do you
who
mean?
said that?
Asking where you get this confidence. If most of the world is,
I just know what I want. Like, I have no desire to live for eternity. Like if I asked you right now,
that's fine.
say that again.
Can you explain your point, Sven? I'm not sure I understand.
Which point? I started thinking about eternity because I thought we were shifting the topic.
Well, let's refocus, because you were saying we think that we're the exception and everybody else has the answers. Like, what do you mean by that? I'm confused. What's your criticism?
You said that you get by perfectly fine without these axioms, and Thinker gets by perfectly fine without these axioms. So I'm asking, do you guys think you are the rule and not the exception?
Okay. Oh, yeah, I see what you're saying. So that's an interesting point.
Spiritual, and that's the rule. Is that? Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, no. Okay, that's a great question. Is it going to work for everybody? Probably not. No, I don't think so. I don't think psychologically everybody's going to be able to accept that. But that's just the reality that we live in. That doesn't change the truth, right? There may be some people that can't psychologically accept that the Earth is round. That doesn't mean that the Earth isn't round, right? So, like, you know, other people's psychological acceptance.
Would it be best not to let that person live in an existence where they believe the world is flat? I
think it's best to give people the truth whenever you can. It's not my responsibility whether people can accept that or not, right?
Whenever you can. You added an additional there.
Yeah, of course, because I can't imagine. I'm not the thought police. I can't make people believe something they don't want to believe, right?
Right.
So I'm just going to do what I can. For people who can accept it and who can say, okay, yeah, this afterlife stuff isn't real. Yeah, absolutely.
Especially if they ask me what I think about it, like, there's no point in me lying. Like, I know for a fact that nobody here knows whether there's an afterlife.
And the Christians, they have no problem telling me, yeah, there is. Right? They're not thinking like you are, Sven, where they're like, oh, well, maybe he can't psychologically accept that there's a heaven, right? They're going to tell me anyway. So why not me tell them, hey, I don't think that's true, actually.
Because I would think you have a different worldview than the Christian. You identify as a secular humanist. Aren't you trying to be more better?
Of course. How am I not being better?
Because you're saying that they can tell you whether you can psychologically handle it or not. You should know that if they cannot psychologically handle it and it is going to cause chaos among their life, that would be better for you to not shove that in their face.
Are you telling us to hide? If they ask us, you're saying that we should hide because they can't psychologically handle the question or the statement they asked for?
Yeah, that's a great point, right? Should we just pretend like we're not who we are? Or that we don't think what we do?
No, but I'm just talking about in the way that you set up society. I guess now I'm leaning more towards anti-theism than just general atheism, but...
Well, society, I mean, there are secular governments, right? Like, most of the world's governments are secular, and there are even countries that are more secular than not in their general population. So I don't know why this requirement is necessary that people have to have a religion in order to be successful as a society. I don't think that seems to be the case.
No, I'm not trying to say it's required for everyone. I'm talking about certain tools. That's why I asked your confidence that your tools can be replaced for everyone, because you said you want to throw out the entire baby and bathwater, throw it all out. Whereas if I'm saying that if these are useful tools to even 1% of the population, why do you think it's worthy of throwing it out when it's...
Okay, well, let me give you an example for that, Sven. Let's say this, right? By this logic that you're giving out, right? Like, let's say I'm a climate scientist and I'm saying, hey, climate change is real, right? And there's some people that are never going to accept that. And what if you told me, well, I don't think you should talk to other people about this because I don't think people can accept that as a worldview because they're going to have to make radical changes to their life in order to adapt to that. And so, what makes you better than the people that deny climate change? Maybe we need to give space and give tools to those who deny climate change, right? Would you think that that's absurd?
Certainly, and I don't think that was my point. I'm not saying you're not welcome to your tools. I'm asking, again, how you think your tools can be applied to everyone, how confident you are for that, and what data you get for that confidence. Because from what
I've already kind of answered this,
people that are
right? So there
are the exception, not the rule.
So you're making a very broad generalization, first of all. There are a lot of people that are secular and not necessarily nihilist. Okay, so that's a different thing that you're talking about. And my evidence is that we are the most secular in the world right now than we have ever been in any point in time in human history. And coincidentally, we are also the most technologically advanced. We are also the most scientifically advanced. We're also all these other things, right? Maybe not globally, right? It's in different parts. Not saying it's even, but I'm saying the countries that have developed the most for themselves socially, seriously, that have social safety nets, that have the best for their citizens, are the ones who are also the most secular. That is that. If that's not evidence for you, I don't know what is.
Well, I don't know if technology is a great example of that, because this is just how anti-theists are just children of the Enlightenment Christians. Like, you kind of force that technology on a lot of places that then became secular after they had the tools. And then we judge countries who aren't necessarily caught up to us within technology. So I don't know if you can say causation is like secularism caused the technology to get where it is. I don't know if I would necessarily agree with that.
Is it? Well, I think that might be a bias in some ways. I don't know if that's necessarily true. Is that true for the development of China, for example? China is now one of the most technologically advanced countries in the world. It was not that just decades ago, right? And still predominantly much more secular than other places, right? And you see this across other non-Western nations as well. I don't know how confident you are in your thesis there, because I'm not just a child of the Enlightenment either. I think there's some other forces you might not be accounting for.
Well, China was atheist throughout most of they didn't have to worry about a religious imperialism going on them. Their dynasties went through much more than just what the West went through. Again, like
yes.
The causation would not account
and
for the same that happened with the dynasties.
Are they not a society? Do they not exist? Like, what's wrong with them?
Sure, if you want us to say society is just one thing, I think that's minimizing it, but...
Okay, but you're saying that society can't handle it. We have to have religion, and we just talked about a very famous and long-lasting society, that being China, that has been had a history of secularism that's been much longer than the West has ever had. So am I not demonstrating what more do I have to do to prove my point that we don't actually need religion as a foundation to society?
I guess I wouldn't say we need it as a foundation of society. I apologize if that was my point. My point was that it's a tool for some people, not for a societal rule at all. I'm not a dogmatic theist with a certain book that people should follow. society means. But I don't think that we should claim to have metaphysical answers between the dualist and nominalist worldviews when there is such a lifeline that is required from or that is given to the dualist worldview. Like, it answers so many emotional and psychological questions for people that I don't think the nominalist has answers to yet. And that's why I was just asking where your confidence is. But yes, maybe I will have to look into more of how the dynasties evolved without it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. That's a very, like, all that. I wish you talked about all that at the end there about nominalism and stuff at the very beginning, because then we could have had a more clear conversation, because I really wasn't sure where we were going here. And I'm dominating the conversation here. I do want to let you go because we're getting close to the end of the show here. But Thinker, did you have anything you want to add to this conversation?
No.
Okay.
It was an interesting conversation.
Yeah, this was. I do want to talk to you more.
Thank you, Dan.
Sven, thanks for calling. Really, I sincerely really appreciate it. We'll go ahead and let you go now, and I hope to hear from you again soon.